Hi, my name's Vicky Haspels and welcome to this week's weekly forecast. We are going to do an energy forecast for the week using the Mythic Tarot. I'll pull out 6 cards and I'm just shuffling them now as we speak. So here we go, 6 cards randomly from the deck. That's how I like to do it. Hope you've all been having a great week. When I'm in Australia, I've been having some lovely weather here this week. Now, just bear with me, 6 cards. So here we go. So we're going to start off by looking at where we are this week. What's the influence around us and what's driving our decisions within. So here we have the Hanged Man. So there's a lot of patience required around the Hanged Man. I want to say too that because he is a major arcana card, that means that there is something significant going on for us this week. The energy around where we are positioned, how we're thinking about ourselves and how we are seeing the world at the moment is quite significant. It means that there's a shift happening on a global scale. So it's not just, it's an individual shift, but it's also a global shift as well. And it always starts with us. The Hanged Man in this case, it's talking about in this case, sacrifice. I get a bit of I want to say like a whingy vibe around it. It's like it's a bit of a poor me vibe around what we need to give up this week, or what we are asked to sacrifice this week. So it's a little bit of, that's not fair. I've done this, or I've already done this much. What's going on here? So expect that there's a sense of frustration around what it is that you feel that you are giving up or have to give up, or what you have to actually wait for. There's a level of patience required with the Hanged Man. So as I said, it's not so much that the general feeling of this card, but there's a specific feel around this card, like, I don't think that it's fair that I have to give this up or that I have to wait. And so just be aware of that sense of, I suppose, a little bit of victimhood. But again, please be kind with yourselves. But it is that energy within us this week. The next card that we're looking at and we're focusing on is the energy and what the energy that is driving us. What is that? The push behind. What is the universal push that's within all of us that is giving us like a push forward? And here we have the 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands in this case represents freedom, freedom of movement, freedom of choice, which is interesting considering there is sacrifice and restrictions around us. So no wonder we're feeling like this is not fair. There is definitely a push around freedom and wanting to be freedom of movement. So can I just say to everybody, just right off the bat here, like the overall theme for this week, the energetic push from the universe coming to us is about, what does personal freedom mean? What does freedom of expression mean? How are you moving forward here? What are your, where can you move forward, rather than looking at, I can't do this and I can't do that. It's the overall theme is looking at what you actually can do. Because these two are together here, it's almost like they're fighting with each other. If you would like to alleviate the suffering of, I can't do this and I can't do that right now, this card is reminding us to look at what we actually can do. So if you can focus on that, there'll be a lot less suffering within. You'll still have that lack of patience and I want to move forward quicker than what I am. But if you're focusing on what you do have, it'll make things a lot easier. Okay, so now we have a look at the challenges and blocks. What is actually pushing up against us, and what is it that we are moving through that is going to create a little bit of suffering around us? Or what is it that we're pushing through, or that we can't actually move? And here we have the 5 of Cups. For me, in a reading, when the 5 turns up, that means we've reached rock bottom. And of course we've got the cups, so that's the emotional. I just want to tune into the card for a minute, because this is that we've reached the end, that it's our emotional tether. We've reached the point of no return, or the point where we can't go any lower when it comes to our emotions, how we're feeling. And so there's a sense of we're an empty cup. See how there's, and again, we've got the spillage here of the emotions down here. There is one in reserve, but it's emotionally we're spent. And so we really have nothing. No wonder we're feeling a little bit whingy, because we have no emotional reserves at the moment. Again, please be kind to yourself this week. If you're feeling this way, if you're feeling like everything's pushing up against you, it is because your emotions are drained and you're running on a little bit of empty. So there'll be that sort of a slump around, and that'll be the challenge, or what's blocking is to find something, the depth within, to move, to feel better about yourselves. Excuse me. So now we have how we respond. I love this for response. This is a call to action, and this is our creative selves, it is our, I want to say creative selves. Traditionally, sword is not creative, but in this instance, it is creative. Our mind sparks up. It means that we get, if we're a little bit whingy, if we're a little bit feeling sorry, and when we focus on that, what we actually can do, we will come up with ways to move forward. We will come up with things to do, and that's how we move forward. So see how she's got the sword up? It's like a battle cry. I can actually do this. So you will be saying to yourself, I can actually do this. I'm going to get out of this little bit of a pity party that's going on inside of me. Yes, my emotions might be a little bit low. Again, be kind to yourselves, but it inspires you to move forward. How can I use my mind? I'm going to clear the mind rather than sit in the depths or the sadness of the emotions. So you respond by saying, you know what, I'm going to pick myself up, and I'm going to formulate a way to move forward for myself this week. So the next one is, what are the possibilities around this? It's interesting that this card is here. This card is a call to action, and this card is the opposite of. It's actually like to sit still in the stillness and let those ideas come. So how you respond is, I'm going to make this work for me. I'm going to think of things, and I'm going to create things. I'm going to use my mind to overcome my emotional state. But what this actually does is it gives us the space to create. You might have this like, yeah, I'm going to make something new. I'm going to forge a new path ahead. In order to do so, it requires stillness. It requires being in the moment, and it requires a little bit of mindfulness and not too much activity. Again, we've got opposites going on here. The spiritual meaning for this week is the Page of Wands. Now again, I want to tune into this because it's quite interesting. It's very much opposites are pulling against each other this week when it comes to how we feel, what the push is behind us, how we're going to respond, but what's actually only possible there. So I'll do a bit of a recap, but this is the spiritual meaning, and I just want to have a bit of a deeper look into it. Just give me 2 secs while I tune into this card and in this real time. Okay, I love the Page of Wands for clearing the cobwebs, but also too, this card is speaking to me about writing or words, or how we express ourselves. So the spiritual meaning, that what our soul, what our guides are, and what the universe is moving through us, what is driving us and what is giving us clarity around, is how we speak, how we're expressing ourselves. But also too, it's clearing away the it's not the big stuff, it's just clearing away the cobwebs. It's clearing away the things that we have been considering important, but they're not. It's clearing away the things that we thought are a big deal, but they're not. It's helping us look at what's actually important in life and what is not so important in life, and what we're giving a lot of meaning to, but actually it has very little meaning, it has very little impact on our lives. So this is actually showing us where we have put drama or importance on something. You know what, it's not really that important. We're adding drama, we're adding pathos to things that really have no, we're building up into something that's not. We're making mountains out of molehills. Thank you. We're making big things out of little things, and the universe is showing us how we have ramped up our thoughts, how we have ramped up our feelings, and put ourselves in a position where everything is big, when really it's just shrinking it back down to its regular size. So I'm going to go over the cards again because it's quite interesting. Here we have a little bit of a poor me attitude coupled with freedom. So tied up, freedom, opposites. So it's very much a push me, pull me, how we consider ourselves to what the universe is pushing behind us. Here we have how we want to respond, how we're going to move forward. We're going to clear our mind, clear the decks, what's actually real. And then here is the contemplation card. Again, opposites, action, inaction. Now the inaction is very important as well as much as the action is. So these are, again, opposites of how we are moving forward. Here, where we are being blocked, is how our emotions are so spent. And here we are considering how we've built up drama when there is no drama. We've been creating drama. We've been creating energy out of nothing. So overall, so my take on this week overall is that we are getting a insight, and we're getting an insight into how we have been placing importance on things that are not important. It's going to be right in our face, and we are going to be making decisions on how we're going to spend our energy. Where are we going to put our thoughts, our input? What are we going to place importance on this week? And the universe is helping us, clearing out those cobwebs, clearing out the cupboard, and saying, you know what? This is actually important to me. I'm putting too much importance on that thing over there, and it has no bearing on my life at all. I'm no longer going to give it attention. I'm letting it go. Anyway, I will leave that with you. It's looking like quite a complex week in that we're pushing against each other, pushing against ourselves internally, probably pushing externally as well. So again, as we're riding those waves of up and down, push me, pull me, opposites that are coming in for us to look at, to bring back to a balance to our lives, please, again, be kind to yourselves. We have very little emotions to be drawing on, so it really is about what's realistic and what's going on, looking at the reality of what it is and how we want to move forward. Anyway, I'm going to leave that with you. Thanks for joining me this week. With love. Thank you.